and I tell people, if you would not say it about your daughter, your niece, your granddaughter, your friend's child, if you wouldn't say it to that 7-year-old girl, then why would you say it about yourself? Because if it's not okay to say it to her, because you know it's mean and that would hurt her feelings, then why do you get to say it about yourself?
Welcome to the Kindness Podcast. I'm Nicole Phillips. Today's conversation is with Camellia Jade, a visionary who helps women build confidence, community, and healthier relationships. Get this, with their bodies. How important is that for women? Through fashion, vulnerability, and a whole lot of courage online, Camellia has turned style into a vehicle for self-love. She's the founder of Confidera, a speaker, and the creator of events that invite women to show up fully as themselves. Welcome, Camellia. So great to have you with me today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
For somebody who's just meeting you, can you tell us, can you describe what you do? Because I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know somebody did this.
Yeah, I think I'm finally okay with saying I'm just a multi-talented person. And really, my passion is just community and connection. And I do that through several different avenues. One is helping women find confidence in their closet with my clothing line, Confidera. Clothes curated for your confident era for women of all ages, sizes, stages, ages. It's just
Hmm.
great clothing to help you feel good. I build community and connection through speaking on various stages. That's something I started last year. And I just love making that connection and seeing that light bulb go off when, you see that person in the crowd and they're like, ah, I get it.
Hmm.
But more so lately, my community has been focused through body confidence and my event, the Body Confidence, really. And that was developed through my own body dysmorphia issues that I didn't even know that I had. And once I made that realization, I figured other women were probably struggling in the same way that they didn't really know. And so I just wanted to be the person to make that change. And we just hosted our second annual event and it was amazing.
What do you mean by women don't know? They think that it's normal to hate their bodies, or what? Tell me more.
So I will share my experience personally, which was that, I'm 5'11, I'm tall. I am a big girl and I've always been big and I've struggled with that. I could never physically fit in with my height, so I always tried to fit in with my body and my body was not made to fit in. And so I struggled a lot with dieting and just learning to love myself, but it wasn't until I decided to walk the walk instead of just talking the talk through my style sessions. And when I was working with midlife women whose bodies had changed through menopause, their bodies had gained weight and fat is shifted on the body and things just sit differently. And I was saying, you're beautiful. Just accept your new body. It's great. It's gotten you through life. I was going home and telling myself the complete opposite thing. And so
Mm.
I started this series called Your Body's Not the Problem, Your Clothes Are, where I got really vulnerable and I would get dressed in my underwear and show people what was truly underneath the clothing because we make a lot of judgments based on outward appearances. But what was the most eye-opening thing for me was not the courage that I gained through filming these. It was realizing that when I watched these videos back, my body looked different when I watched it through the camera versus what I thought it looked like on the day that I filmed it when I looked in the mirror. And so that's where I realized I had that body dysmorphia. When I look at my body in the mirror, I am exaggerating what it truly looks like. And I would never have known that if I didn't film myself. But how many women are filming themselves in their underwear? Probably not very
Uh,
many.
Zero. Yeah, right. And then putting it online, zero. Yeah.
Exactly, and so it was that revelation of, "Oh my gosh, my body looks differently. It doesn't look that bad. It truly does not look that bad." And still to this day, I have to tell myself sometimes, "Camellia, you're not seeing your real body right now. You're making
Mm.
this up."
I love that because I think that, like, the power of thoughts and harnessing thoughts is so important, and to just say to ourselves sometimes, your mind is lying to you right now, like, this is not the truth, but it's hard to even get to the point where you realize, like, you have the right to speak back to your own mind. So interesting that you saw one thing in the mirror, and then you saw something else when you looked back at it on video. But
Yes.
how did you get to the point of having the courage? So for people who don't know, like, on Instagram, you will be wearing a bra and underwear set.
Mhm.
This is not like, sexualized or risque or trying to do this is not a turn on for somebody.
No.
This is just simply speaking to women about confidence in their own body. So I wanna make that really clear as I explain this. But as people, if they see you on Instagram, they will see you in a bra and underwear set getting dressed,
Mhm.
or vice versa. Sometimes you're dressed and then you go the opposite way. So how did you make that leap from, "I am seeing something different, and I need to not only do this, but put this out there for other people to consume."
Yeah. I do also want to say as and I appreciate that clarification. My feed is 99% women. I look at my analytics all the time. I think the 1% is my husband who watches my videos out of encouragement.
Good.
Um, really, it was just this I had this internal conflict where I started out as a stylist. I was working at a small boutique and I had built a following online, and women were traveling hours to come see me from Washington, D.C., from Atlanta, from Asheville, North Carolina. I'm located in Raleigh. Most of the women I worked with were not local, which to me was such an honor that they felt comfortable and they felt called to come work with me. But it was that disconnect. We would have these almost therapy sessions, right? Because when you do a style session, it's often when you're going through a life change. You're ready to embrace a new version of you. And for some women, that could be retirement, it could be a move, it could be a career change, it could be, empty nesting. So they're going through a huge life change. I'm here to walk with them through that and help them find themselves again through clothing. So as I'm encouraging them and I'm seeing these smiles and I'm seeing them become the version of themselves that they truly know again, I just realized one day that I am essentially being a liar because the things that I'm telling them, I'm not telling myself. And that's not true and that's not real. And how could I be this fake person and be so nice to another human being and so mean to myself? And so I just took a moment to realize what was helping me feel better. I had started my own self love journey, and it was seeing other women share their bodies online and share their stories. So, a mom who had endometriosis, or a woman who had struggled with an eating disorder, a woman who, had PCOS, and they're sharing their bodies and we're just normalizing it, right? It's what is it? Kind of like immersion therapy, right? Where you
Mhm.
just have to or exposure therapy. You have to see it and normalize it. And at the time I had developed an audience and I just hoped that if what they were sharing was helping me, then maybe if I were to share the same thing with my audience in my way, then I could have that same effect on other people and I could help them. And I just decided one day to try it and be brave. I didn't tell anyone I was doing it. And now I joke with my friends. I'm known as the naked girl. And and that's what it is. But I am so glad that I took that leap because every single day I receive comments from women that just say how much these videos have helped them and they hear my voice in their head when they get dressed or they're having a bad day and they say, my body looks like yours, but I think yours looks better than mine. But no, we're the same. And so I still struggle with it. It's always a journey, but being able to help other people outweighs whatever self-consciousness I might feel.
Mhm, mhm. And you do give a little pep talk when you do these videos as well. So it's yeah, there's definitely inspiration just baked into what you do. And I wanna lift up the fact that because you reminded me of something. I had a mastectomy.
Mm.
So I had a breast removed 10 years ago. I had breast cancer. And when I would see people, women online, and they would show their bare chest with one breast or no breast, um, it 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 did fortify me. Right?
Mhm.
It made it okay for me to look in the mirror at myself, and there is something about that exposure therapy. There is something about seeing something and going, "Okay, well, this woman is very beautiful, and she has no breasts," right? So, clearly, there's I need to change my lens, and
Mhm.
yeah, so thank you for helping women do that. That's really neat. It's interesting to me that one of the videos that you had that went viral was about w showing women to roll up their sleeves or something. Tell me about that.
That was actually, that is a repeat of, the first video that went viral. I had no idea that that would happen. This was several years ago now when I was working at the style boutique, and we had found that sharing style sessions got us a lot of engagement. It's people like to be voyeurs in someone else's world. It's almost like the new version of reality TV. And so I shared this one simple style tip. Everyone sees it for the first time and we're like, oh, it's so simple, right? But it's so amazing. And it was crazy. Within 24 hours, we gained 30,000 followers. I think it got up to 20 million views on just one platform, which was insane. And people were arguing in the comments over what the style tip was. This is dumb. I've been doing this forever. Oh my gosh, I never would have thought of that. Ironically, the dress she's wearing is wrong. She needs a better bra. That's a terrible color for her. I mean, people share whatever is on their mind. I call my page an emotional dumping ground. And it doesn't bother me now, 6 years in, but I have developed very thick skin because of all of the criticisms that I have received. But in a way, it's also made me more empathetic towards people as well because where I used to judge myself sometimes because I didn't have that self confidence. It's always easier said than done, right? But I truly know that those comments have nothing to do with me and it's everything to do with that person and whatever they're going through. They feel like this is their way to get their emotions out. They feel like it's not a real person on the other side. And I kind of accept it and I let it be. Sometimes it bothers me, but for the most part, I would say 95% of the time, those comments just roll off my back now.
There are so many creators out there, and I see it a lot with young people, with teenagers
Mhm.
who desperately want something to create something that goes viral. I think maybe because they think it'll change their life, it'll change something, and we forget about the dark side of that.
Everyone wants to go viral until they go viral.
What a great way to put it. Wow. Wow, so you have seen that, and the viral part, the engagement part, we forget something something goes viral because it's engagement, not because it's all likes or loves, and
Exactly. Sometimes I have a love-hate relationship with the toxic social media culture because sometimes when I would get a lot of hate, I would say, "Okay, this one's gonna go viral. Here we go, 1,000,000 views." And in a way, because I was selling clothing, it helped. It's the people who say the negative things online, um, they're the loudest. What's the saying? The loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. But what they're
ooh.
really doing is they are telling the algorithm that someone is interested in this video because the algorithm doesn't know if you're saying something nice or something mean. It just knows that you're saying something. It's keeping people on the video as you're reading all the comments, the engagement goes up. So all that's doing is it's sharing that video with people who really need to see it and the people who want to see it. And when I'm sharing style tips for women and saying, here's how to hide a tummy, here's how to hide your hips, here's how to hide your flabby arms, not because there's anything wrong with it, but if you feel self-conscious about it, I want you to have that knowledge of how to feel confident in your clothes. if you're not feeling confident, you're probably not going to like, comment, share, engage. You're going to watch in the shadows, but it doesn't mean that video is not helping you in doing what it's supposed to do.
So, do you engage back with these people?
I do. I do. So I take a very
Ooh.
different approach. I know. A lot of people say block them.
Mhm.
And I think it's taken me a while to get to this point. My husband has seen me go through the ups and downs. Um, but the only reason it would get to me was, like I mentioned, I didn't have the confidence in myself because I am not a trained stylist. I have zero fashion background. I fell into this. I started putting clothes on people and people liked it and I went with it and I am upfront about that. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm making it work, you know? So I
And
don't
people
normally
are
talk like
liking
that,
it.
but yeah, I'm like, people like it, so great. That's what it is. So I engage with them because guess what? If I can engage them and bait them into an argument, again, that's just going to tell the algorithm people like my video. And with Facebook now, you can get paid for your views. So if you're gonna hate on me, I'm gonna get some money off of you, you know? You're just gonna
Oh
pay
my,
me with dollars.
I love it. I love it. I love it. But how do you keep the distance so that it doesn't become personal each time?
um I've learned how to take breaks. So when videos go very viral, I'm the type of person too, I really do try to reply to every single comment. And a lot of them, I have my slightly snarky responses. That's just kind of who I am. I mean, if you're gonna be, a total biatch, I'm gonna call you out a little bit. Now there are some legitimate responses, like with my clothing line. People will say, "Why does it cost this much?" Well, I have a list with all of my automatic responses for things like, "Well, why does your top cost $99?" Well, it's because it's made with fabric that's made to last. It's made within the US. I offer free shipping on all of my orders within the US, and I donate $1 from every purchase back to a rotating women's or girls charity. So if you want products that are made in the US, it's going to boost the US economy, you're going to pay a little bit more. No one's come back to me once I give them that response. When
Mhm.
someone says, "Hey, your clothes look a little outdated," I say, "Well, is it outdated or is it classic?" It's all about how you style the item. People get confused. And if someone says, "That's a terrible outfit, I would never take advice from a stylist who's wearing a scarf around her neck and red Mary Janes," I just say, "Okay, you don't have to." you know?
Go
You
find a different
you're
stylist,
telling me
right?
exactly how you feel. I'm not making you watch this video. I'm not making you buy anything from me. That's your opinion. And so sometimes I just say, "Okay, it doesn't bother me." It's that's your own opinion. I know what I like and I feel confident in my style and don't say sorry but. I always say, "Why are you sorry?" Saying sorry but doesn't negate the negative comment that you're saying. You think it makes you a better person. It doesn't. So when I say, "Why are you sorry for leaving this comment?" No one has a reason. So
Right. That
I
is
give it back a little bit, but if
Yep.
it's truly, if it's truly a question, I will try to answer it because sometimes people just need a little bit of education and that I'm here for. The negativity, I will let you know it doesn't bother me. But with the majority of the content that I share now, because so much of it is within the body positive movement, it's really hard to say something negative about that, and unless I get on the wrong side of the feed. I have had a few videos somehow get on the men's feed, and they say terrible things, and you know what I do? Maybe this is the feminine rage in me. I take screenshots, and I'll put them in a video, and I'll say, "This is why we can't have nice things," you know? We're gonna call them out. If you're gonna be
Uh-huh.
rude and you're gonna say stupid things,
Yeah.
that's kind of my personal it's my little outlet. Majority of the time, I am a very nice person, but if you're gonna be mean for no reason, I'm not here for that.
That's right. That's right. And I think that that is such an important point to me is that kindness doesn't mean that you roll over and let people say what you want or they want about you. It doesn't mean that people can get away with saying, sorry, but I think this, right? That's not kindness, friends. So, right, there is an edge, there is teeth to kindness, there is integrity in the middle of it all, and you definitely walk that. So people who are listening to this podcast or watching it right now, are also, I am assuming, have just picked up their phones and are opening Instagram because they're like, who are we talking to? I have got to see this. So tell people right now in the middle of this, like, where to find you.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. My first name is Camellia, just like the flower underscore Jade, just like the gemstone. So that is my personal page. That's where I'm the most interactive, but I am also on Threads and TikTok. And on my personal profile, you can see all of the other work that I do. You can see my clothing line. You can see the in-person events that I host. But my personal page, Camellia underscore Jade, is my little hub. That's my community.
Camellia underscore JADE. Okay, so because I know people are like, wait a minute, I have to listen and search at the same time. You know they're doing it, right? Because we are multitaskers at heart. Hey, tell me about these events.
Oh my gosh, they are amazing. I just hosted my second one, and it was a wild experience because people knew what to expect this year. So people really got into the theme. So the event is called the Body Confidence Party because it is a dance party.
Dig it.
I am a millennial. I am a Jersey girl. Yes, I spent my college years dancing on bars like nobody's business.
Woohoo!
I love
Me
to
too.
shake
My
it.
husband still reminds me that there was a time in which I loved to dance on a bar top. I am so sorry to everyone. My mom is listening to this. My mom never knew that about me, but yes, it is the real thing. Okay, carry on.
Listen, it is girl therapy, right? Just getting on the
Yes.
dance floor, shaking your thing. But, the going out culture is a little different now. I don't know where I can really go and dance and listen to the music that I want to listen to, and I was kind of missing that, and so I thought, "Well, let me just create what I can't find," and so I was on a walk one day, and this vision truly just came to me as I was listening to some music, thinking about my dancing days and really reflecting on the body dysmorphia issue that I didn't know I had, and that was where I realized if I'm struggling with this, an issue I didn't know I had, I'm sure other women are struggling with their body image too and not realizing that their body is not the way that they think it is, and we have so much pressure from society to look a certain way, to act a certain way, to dress a certain way. We can see some things online, but it's a different experience in person, and so I created it's a PJ and lingerie dance party. It's come in whatever makes you feel comfortable, so if you're not fully comfortable, being fully exposed, that's okay. I always lead the charge wearing lingerie, myself. We have a boudoir photographer at the event to help women feel really powerful and sexy and really embrace their femininity, but it is in a safe space. It is a women only space. Of course, we have only female vendors. We are in a private space. We cover up the window so no one from the outside can see in. And just the environment is so positive. There is something for everyone. We have cocktails, we have mocktails. I always get pizza, including gluten-free and vegan options so everyone can eat. I make sure the desserts are gluten-free and vegan and regular, so there is something for everyone. I really try to be really intentional, and I check in with everyone to see how they're doing and how they're feeling, and this year we had a lot of women who came, and sometimes they'll bring clothes so you'll change throughout the night, you're like, "I'm not sure, let me feel it out."
Oh.
So sometimes you'll do a little outfit change, and usually by the end of the night, we're a little skimpier, we're a little bit more scandalous. But really, what this event was designed to do was to just distance yourself from your own insecurities, and you see other bodies on the dance floor. You see short bodies, you see tall bodies, you see big boobs, you see small boobs, you see ass out, you see completely covered, right? You see all ends of the spectrum, and we're all having fun. We're moving on the dance floor. So the cellulite is on full display. The flabby arms are flapping. The bloated bellies are jiggling, right? But we're just seeing these bodies move and realize that it is just, as of my recent term, a skin suit. That's really all it is.
A skin suit. I dig it. Yes. What a great way to put it. What a
Yeah.
great way to put it. And it does sound, again, like exposure therapy, right? Like just allowing women to see, to normalize what is normal instead of what we have been sold for decades and
Yes.
decades. Why do you think so many women feel alone in their bodies?
I think that we live in one of the best times for women because we are really taking this opportunity to change the narrative, and that's something that I'm really proud of. I think we're talking about body positivity, we're talking about perimenopause and menopause and what this does to the body and how our menstrual cycles affect the way we think and the way we feel and the way that we look, and so we're working really hard to change the stories and the narratives that we've been told, and we're working hard to learn more and to function better. But for so long, right, we had to look a certain way, and I think there were a lot of messages from family members. I heard a family member of mine have a conversation when I was 10 years old. They didn't know I was around the corner, but um, told someone that I was fat. I was eating too much ice cream and I looked pregnant. I was 10 years old. That was the first time
Mm,
I would heard that I was fat, and, when I was 12, I heard a boy liked me but wouldn't date me because I was too tall for him, which was true, but those things hurt, and so I think it's unintentional messages that we hear throughout our whole lives that we internalize, and
mm,
those words from other people create the story that we tell ourselves about who we are and how worthy we are. And sometimes you can't help that. You can't help what you overhear, and you can't help how you internalize it, and some people are stronger than others, and some people, really take that in, and, if I can be completely honest and blunt, I think a lot of it comes down to control. I think if women are so focused on the way that they look, we are not spending any time building businesses. We're not spending any time
mm,
making careers and moving society forward. I think it's a way to hold us back, if I'm being completely honest. I think it's and so we're told that getting dressed and caring about the way that you look is vanity, and I don't think it's vanity. I think that it is something that gives you confidence, but I don't think you have to change the way that you look to fit in.
mhm, wow. That takes it to a whole new level. Thank you. Hmm.
That's just my
What's
perspective.
Yeah, I think it's a great perspective and something I hadn't thought about before with control in that. That's really important and really powerful. And if collectively we are evolving as women, then we need voices like yours who will say, I wonder if maybe we're spending a little too much time.
And it's more than just the outside. I think specifically with the bodies, when women are so focused on being skinny, we are not nurturing ourselves, we are not feeding ourselves, so our bodies are not functioning. Our brains are not at full capacity. It is not just holding us back by taking up mental space. It is biologically a way to control us and I think ultimately hold us back. And so we are not able to achieve all that we could achieve if we're just
Mhm.
focusing on being skinny and being pretty and living up to this crazy societal standard that no one truly can live up to.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes we find out too late that we've been trying to live up to that standard. I have several friends who were not able to conceive in the way that they wanted to because they had spent so many years uh, in starvation mode, and it had affected all of their internal reproductive organs. And we just don't realize until it's too late sometimes what the cost has been for trying to create ourselves into a way that fits into something that society said we need to be. Hmm.
Yeah.
What is one kind thing a woman can do for herself today?
I think the kindest thing you can do is look at your body in the mirror in a non-judgmental way, but in a loving way and say nice things. And so I have changed the words that I use to describe my body. I weigh more now than I have ever weighed in my life, but I am also a victim of under eating and under um, serving myself. My digestion was very messed up. I lost a lot of my hair. It's just getting back to normal now. My extremities were always cold, and I didn't make the connection until last year that I was under eating. I didn't look like I had an eating disorder, but I was not eating enough, and that was
Mm.
something that I struggled with for years, and so now my body is functioning better even though I'm at a larger weight. So I have more love handles, and I have more jiggly arms, but I just say that my curves are beautiful, and I am very soft and squishy and huggable. And isn't that so
Mhm.
much better than fat and ugly? Those are just terrible words, so I just use really kind words. I think I look like a teddy bear. Who doesn't wanna hug a teddy bear?
And neuroplasticity is a real thing, and it doesn't matter how old you are, you can create new pathways in your brain. And so several years ago, I would say probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago now, I started to say, um, "I get to be beautiful." When I would look in the mirror and I would see my chest that, with 2 very different sized breasts, I would say I used to go look at myself in the mirror and go, "Ugh, yuck," or I would notice the menopausal middle and all of it, and I just would, "Ugh," and, words like fat and ugly come to mind. And I realized one day, I just thought, "Think about what you're thinking about." This is my favorite thing to say to people, "Think about what you're thinking about." And I realized what I was thinking about, and I was like, "Oh, no way." And I just
Mhm.
every time I see myself naked in front of a mirror now, I will look at myself and I'll go, "Thank you for this strong, beautiful, healthy body." Or I'll say, "Oh, I get to be beautiful. I
Mhm.
get to be cute. I get to be funny. I get to be all of the things." Women who are listening who think I could never look at myself in the mirror and say, "I like how I look." Believe me, neuroplasticity is a thing.
Yeah, it's so funny. I am wearing gold today and you are wearing red because I talk about the golden rule and the red rule. And my red rule
Ooh.
is not the wear red because it makes you feel confident rule. So everyone knows what the golden rule is for the most part, right? Treat others as you want to be treated, which for me is a lot easier than treating myself how I would treat others, right?
Yes.
And so I call it the red rule, which basically means, it stands for loving yourself. And I tell people if you would not say it about your daughter, your niece, your granddaughter, your friend's child, if you wouldn't say it to that 7-year-old girl, then why would you say it about yourself? Because if it's not okay to say it to her, because you know it's mean and that would hurt her feelings, then why do you get to say it about yourself? Oh, I just got chills.
You give me chills. Oh. What a great place to what a great place to leave people. I wanna leave them with that, but I do wanna ask what I've not asked you that you want me to ask you.
Well, if I could leave, another analogy, this is also what has helped me, is I like to think of my body as a brick house, okay? And so if you were to think of your body as a brick house right now and think about all of the negative things you have ever said about yourself in your entire life, and every time you said something mean about yourself, you took a brick away from your house, what kind of house would you have right now? Would you even have a foundation? Would you have a first floor? Would you have one layer of bricks? I'm sure for most of us women, our houses would be crumbling. But you can also add to your house by saying something nice. And so if you want to live in a brick mansion with a pool house in the backyard, you can have that life. You can have what comes with having that huge, beautiful house by building yourself up and just saying those nice things to yourself. Even today, I gave myself props and I said, Camellia, you did a lot today. You accomplished so many things on your list. I just added probably 5 bricks to my house by just giving myself that compliment. So I think you're in charge of how you want your house to look. Do you want a crumbling foundation or do you want to live in a mansion? It's up to you.
Woo! She's preaching. She is preaching. Camellia Jade, thank you for talking with me today. I will never hear that song, She's a Brick House, without thinking of you and thinking yes, I'm going to own that. So thanks for talking with us about confidence, vulnerability, and the kindness of letting women take up space in their own bodies. This is lovely. Thank you, listener, for listening. If this conversation made you think of a woman who needs permission to be a little gentler with herself, would you please send it her way? And remember, what we look for is what we will see.